So this month we're reviewing our 5 basic principles. Unity has 5 basic principles, and who can tell me what principle 1 is?
One power, one presence in the universe.
That's it. That's it. We believe that there's only one God, and that God is all-powerful, all-knowing, everywhere present. In many churches, Unity churches cite every week, there is only one power and one presence, God the good, omnipotent. And last week, Reverend Juan talked about principle number 2. Who can tell me what number 2 is without looking? Pardon me? Our essence is of God. We believe that we are spiritual beings created in God's image. The Spirit of God lives within each one of us. Therefore, all people are inherently good. Take a breath. All people are inherently good. They may filter it differently. This principle emphasizes our divine nature and the presence of God within each person. And this week we're going to talk about our 3rd principle. And does anybody know what it is without looking? That's right. Our 3rd principle states we create our experiences by the activity of our thinking. The principle conveys that our thoughts have the power to shape our reality. Our thoughts have the power to shape our reality. In Unity teachings, it's also summarized as thoughts held in mind produce after their kind. It's also called the law of mind action. And some people call it the law of attraction. The principle emphasizes that each person is a co-creator with God, and that our mental patterns, my mental patterns and your mental patterns, what we habitually think and feel and believe, manifest as our life's experiences. Through conscious choice and positive thinking, we can bring about transformation in our lives and our surroundings. And if y'all remember, what is my goal? My purpose statement is to transform lives and encourage others to make a difference in the world. Our thoughts and our beliefs influence our actions and the results of those actions. By focusing on positive, life-affirming ideas, we attract positive outcomes. We are responsible for the energy and intentions that we put forth in the world. It's a big responsibility. It's a huge responsibility. Were any of you taught the saying that sticks and stones can break my bones, but words can never hurt me? You know, I don't hear that very much anymore. And I'm glad, because words do hurt. And for those of us who are going through the quantum process, we're seeing how words hurt. What others think and say can hurt, but most important, the words that you and I think and say are the ones that are the most critical in our lives. Words have energy, and they take on, and if they're thought long enough, if you say something long enough, if you think it long enough, it takes form. And that's how we co-create with God. A train yard maintenance man went in to clean a refrigerator, freezer car, to clean it. And when he was ready to leave, he discovered to his dismay that he was locked in. And when his coworkers opened the door the next day, they found the man's lifeless body. And looking around for clues to his death, they found his handwriting on the wall, and it said, cold, getting colder, freezing. The tragic death was most poignant in the light of the fact that the freezer unit on the car was not working. The man was frozen not by a machine, but by his mind. And that story came out of a book, I Had It All the Time, by Alan Cohen. It struck me when I read it as a true picture of the power of our thoughts. The Old Testament tells us, as he or she thinketh in his or her heart, so he or she is. The Buddha taught, we are what we think. All that we are arises with our thoughts. With our thoughts, we make the world. In the New Testament, Jesus taught us, go, be it done to you as you have believed. That's in Matthew 8:13. Our third unity principle says human beings create their experiences by the activity of their thinking. Everything in the manifest realm has its beginning in thought. There would be no podium if somebody hadn't thought of a podium. There'd be no chair if somebody hadn't had the thought of a chair. We have a wonderful handout for you. It's got the 5 principles on it. It's back on the little table with the rose on it. Again, the way in unity we say this is thoughts held in mind produce after this kind. What this means is that our bodies and our life circumstances are faithful renditions of the consistent and persistent ideas we hold in our mind. The kind of thoughts and beliefs and feelings that we hold are the types of circumstances that we will produce. As we think in our heart, so we will become. What we see in the outer is but a reflection, is a mirror of our own beliefs. In other words, we manifest in general what we seriously think and feel and believe. Emmett Fox, in his book Stake Your Claim, said, if we want to find out what our habitual thinking is like, we have but to look around us and ask ourselves, what do we really see? If you and I are making a cake, we're very careful about the ingredients that we put in that bowl because we know that what we put in that bowl is going to be in the cake. And if we leave out a specific ingredient, like if we leave out the leavening, that's what the cake's going to have. The thoughts and beliefs and feelings that you and I hold create the cake that we call life. What we think and believe and feel will show up in our life. What we choose to fill our minds with will ultimately appear, will be in our experience. And if we realize this, we can save ourselves a lot of trouble. And don't we wish we had learned this when we were little? We don't put the wrong ingredient in the mixing bowl because we don't want it in our cake. Because everybody knows if it's in the bowl, it's in the cake. Well, we don't want to put something in our minds that we don't want in our lives. The key to happiness is inside of us. Just as a picture doesn't paint itself, an artist paints the picture. And if the artist dips his brush in blue paint, that's what's going to be on that picture, not green. It's going to be blue. He can't, if he dips it in green, it'll be green. He can't expect it to be blue. He can't blame the brush. He has to blame what he put the brush in. Whatever color he applies will be the color that appears. And that's true. Whatever in the canvas of our life, whatever we think about is what's going to appear. I am the one that makes my day, and you are the one that makes your day. I make my own happiness and my own misery. And guess what? You make your own happiness and your own misery. You and I can either create darkness or we can create light with our thoughts and our feelings. It's true for me and it's true for you. The mind is a magnet, and we attract that with which we identify the self. We call this the law of attraction. In order to get the most out of life, we must learn consciously to change our habitual thought patterns, to consciously change what we think. What we think about grows. What we allow to occupy our mind gets magnified. Whether the subject is good or bad, the law works, the condition grows. Any subject that we don't want to have grow in our life, we got to keep out of our mind. Positive mental energy, positive thinking does not mean that we think unrealistically or we revert to denial. If we don't like something, we respect our own opinion. If we spot a problem, we're honest about it. We try to fix it. If something isn't working, we accept the reality. But we don't dwell on the negative parts of our experience, because whatever we give energy to, we empower. I have to remind myself often that there are no neutral thoughts. There are no neutral thoughts. Thoughts, whether they are true or false, create according to their kind. No thought is ever idle. There's no such thing about idle thoughts. They are the activities of our mind. Those which are false create illusions and we begin to see things that aren't there. We invite disharmony and disorder into our experience. We entertain them as welcomed guests. Thoughts based on truth bring guests of love, order, and harmony. If we watch our thoughts and keep them based in truth, then whatever we have thought about, we welcome its effect. Now the question we might have been asking, if my thoughts and feelings make my world, does that mean that I had been thinking car crash before I had the accident? Does it mean I've been dwelling on the word cancer? Was I dwelling on the word stroke last month? The answer to each of those questions is, well, yes and no. We don't necessarily draw specific events into our lives, although it can happen with focus and attention. However, with the power of our thought, we attract a framework. We attract the kinds of events that we draw into our lives. The interesting and wonderful and powerful thing about unity is that we teach that once we realize that we have drawn something in our life, if we don't like it, we can banish it. We can change our thoughts. We can have new thoughts. We're constantly creating our world. And after I had that health challenge last month, I looked back at my thoughts. And here is what I had been thinking. Beth, you're a couch potato. You're not exercising enough. If you don't get some exercise, it's going to kill you. If I don't exercise more, it'll kill me. Now, I can do either one or two things. I can either start saying, being a couch potato is healthy, which I can think, but I don't believe. Or I can start exercising. But I don't want to keep holding on to that thought. If you don't exercise, it's going to kill you. If we want our lives to go in a new direction, we know that we can create a tomorrow that's different with our thoughts and emotions that we hold today. We can proceed from this present moment. And I don't know if you've noticed, but I've kept saying our thoughts and ideas and our emotions and feelings are generators of mind action. Our mind, our soul, is made up of thoughts and feelings. Our feelings are strong dictators. In fact, if you have a strong feeling and a different thought, the feeling is going to win 100% of the time. Our emotions are really thoughts. They were words that we thought, and they formed strong patterns, and they got linked with the power of hormones. Thoughts that have reached a critical mass and have been transmuted to a level that prompts us into action. Unlike thoughts, emotions take place entirely in our subconscious mind. It's all in our subconscious. And we have access to our subconscious. We have access by using our conscious mind as the gatekeeper of what we let enter our subconscious. You know, I've had someone say to me when they had a healing need, and I've prayed with them, they say, I've heard somebody say to me, I know that prayer can help, but it's really no use. I can't be healed. Now, guess what? No matter how good my prayer is, they can't be healed. One of my first experiences in Unity, when I went to work at Unity of Raleigh, I went to work there as their administrator. And the second week I was there, the minister left, and he had a prayer service at noon on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And somebody called in, and they were going in for surgery. And they wanted prayer. And I prayed with them. I prayed with all my naivety and earnestness. I mean, this wasn't my gig yet. But I prayed. And guess what? They believed and I believed, and they called back, and when the doctors performed the surgery, they found no tumor. I couldn't have had a stronger experience at that time. I became a real believer of prayer, but I also saw many times where my prayers didn't work. And so what I sometimes say is that a healing, can come in many forms. And we can appreciate this potential of thought-emotion combination. When a thought and a feeling are synchronized and going in the same direction, we are wielding the most powerful tool that you and I have. It leads to transforming action. This is what Jesus had in mind when he declared, let it be done to you as you have believed. And you've all heard, wherever two or more of you are gathered in my name, there's a metaphysical explanation to that. Whenever your thoughts and your feelings are gathered in my name, going in one direction, your prayer will be answered. We let things in unconsciously. We let things appear on the television, we let things on the radio and ads. Now that you're over 55, you're a senior citizen. Do you have tired blood? The economy's terrible. Times are bad. You and I are responsible for what we let go into our mind and we think about. Whatever our conscious mind allows in goes into our subconscious. And if we are constantly and persistently entertaining and letting in destructive ideas, we're going to get destructive outcomes. Jesus taught the law of mind action 2,000 years ago. He said that it is the belief that creates the pattern in the subconscious that brings forth form and structure. I don't like that page. Too long. Once upon a time, there was a quiet town. It was nestled in rolling green hills, and there lived a woman named Clara. Now, Clara was known for her genuine, gentle smile, but lately, the days seemed clouded with a subtle heaviness that no one else could see. She woke each morning with the weight of the world, with anxious thoughts pressing on her chest, worries about work, doubts about her future, memories of mistakes that played on repeat in her mind. And her world felt small and got smaller, closing in more each day. She tried, as everyone does, to simply not think those thoughts. But the more she wrestled with those unwelcome thoughts, the stronger and more persistent they became. It's like saying, don't think about a pink elephant, and then the pink elephant dances in your mind. One afternoon, Clara went to the town's library and seeking solace among the stacks of books. And she came across a little gold volume, and it was called The Laws of the Mind. And she opened it to a chapter that titled The Law of Substitution. And the chapter said, you cannot dismiss a thought directly. You can only replace it with another. When a negative thought arises, do not fight it. Instead, gently choose another thought, one that uplifts you, one that brings light. Something in those words stirred Clara's curiosity. She realized that her struggle was not with the thoughts themselves, but with her approach to it. So that night, instead of telling herself, don't worry, she tried something new. She thought about a letter that she had gotten from a friend that made her happy. She thought about the laughter of her niece and how it delighted her soul. She thought about the warmth of the sun on her arms as she walked. She let her mind lingering there, savoring on memories that were good, as if it was a treasured photograph. To her surprise, her old worries began to fade. They were still there, but they were less urgent and less insistent. And over time, she made this practice a daily ritual. When anxiety crept in, she would gently guide her mind to something positive. Sometimes a simple affirmation, sometimes a God thought. As she read in the book, words like, I am safe, I am capable, and I am loved. As the weeks passed, she noticed subtle changes. She smiled more easily. She slept more deeply. Her shoulders relaxed. She began to see opportunities where before she only saw troubles. She reached out to old friends. She went and volunteered at the animal shelter, which brought her a lot of fun and joy. One morning she encountered her neighbor, Mr. Ellis, who said, you seem lighter these days. What's your secret? Remembering that little book, she said, I realized that I can't always control which thoughts appear in my mind, but I can choose which ones I will dwell on, which ones I feed. It's a bit like tending a garden. You pull the weeds by planting flowers. And Mr. Ellis nodded. He said, my mom used to say, the mind is a field. Sow it with hope, and you'll reap a harvest of peace. Her story began to ripple outward. The friends that she had reconnected with noticed her transformation, and they asked, and she shared her practice, and they began to practice. And inspired by her progress, she started a group at the library called Thought Gardeners. And every week they gathered and they shared their challenges and meditated together and read God thoughts. With time, the group grew. And as the group grew, so did the stories of transformation. A teen struggling with self-doubt discovered the power of repeating, "I am enough." A retiree who was facing loneliness every day started saying, "I am connected by a web of love." A young mom overwhelmed with worry said, "Peace begins with me." And the town began to blossom in invisible ways. People listened more deeply, forgave more easily, and found courage in moments of fear. Between my microphone, my hearing aids, my glasses keep wanting to fall off. I'll find a cure for this next week. Maybe a dot of glue right there. Clara realized that the true power of thought was not just personal, but it was communal, a ripple that could change not just one life, but many. She still faced challenges, but now, when old patterns of worry would come up, she would choose a different thought. So in a quiet town among green rolling hills, the garden of the mind blossomed. And here are some of the lessons from her story. The law of substitution. We cannot forcibly banish the thoughts that come up, but we can gently replace them with something good. Practice makes powerful. Like learning any new skill, we have to practice it. Affirmations and God thoughts, repeating uplifting words, can calm the mind and guide us through difficult times. It has a community influence. It didn't just affect her, it affected everyone around her. And kindness to self. When negative thoughts arise, treat yourself with compassion, not judgment. Our thoughts have the power to shape our realities, color our days, and determine the quality of our lives. And you and I can make that choice today. We get to choose that. So let's practice with some call and response. I'm going to say it and you're going to respond. God loves me.
God loves me.
Unity of Merritt Island is filled with love.
Unity of Merritt Island is filled with love.
I am God's beloved.
I am God's beloved.
I am never alone.
I am never alone.
I am prosperous.
I am prosperous.
Unity of Merritt Island is prosperous.
Unity of Merritt Island is prosperous.
Nothing can disturb the calm peace of my soul.
Nothing can disturb the calm peace of my soul.
We've said it, we believe it, and it happens. Thank you.